I'm here with the founder of BlaBlaCar. So, how's BlaBlaCar doing, and what have you been doing in the past 6 months?
I'll tell you about the last 6 months and the next few years, I guess.
Right.
So BlaBlaCar is a city-to-city ride-sharing service. So essentially, very basically, as a driver, you go on BlaBlaCar, and if you're driving, let's say, from Berlin to Hamburg in Germany, you offer your empty seats to passengers going the same way. And as a passenger, you go on the website and you book those seats and travel together. So we started that in France initially and then expanded all over Europe in the last 2 or 3 years. And now we're focusing on going from this European footprint to a global footprint and expanding in countries like Russia, Turkey, and many more in the future. So I would say the last 6 months have been about how do we go from having a European footprint and being a European company to being a global company, right? So we raised $100 million to do that. And we launched in the last 9 months, technically, we launched Russia, Ukraine, and more recently Turkey, which are like the first countries outside of Europe for us.
All right. So, can you tell our viewers how do you plan to monetize? Because the service is free in most countries, right?
Yeah.
Right now, and how do you plan to monetize in the countries where even credit cards are used less?
Yeah. So I think we need to be careful when we say the service is free. Actually, it's not free in the sense that you always pay the driver. The question is, how do you pay, right? So in most countries, when we launch, we allow cash payment. So you end up paying the driver cash in the car, but the driver is still getting money, still like sharing his the cost of his or journey, and the passenger is still paying. What we do eventually is we enable online payment. So when you pay online, essentially what happens is instead of paying, let's say, €20 to the driver, you're going to pay that online, and then we're going to transfer the money to the driver. In the process, we take a fee, and that's where we start to monetize. So the key challenge is not so much like how and when we monetize. It's mostly, which is linked, but it's mostly how and when do we enable that online payment, and when does it make sense for the community to have this online payment enabled. So today we only enabled online payment in 2 countries, France, where we started, so it's the historical country, I would say, and Spain. And over time, as the community gets bigger, and bigger is not even the right word, it's like more active. So once we get like a certain level of activity, it makes sense to enable the online booking because it brings more trust, more reliability into the network. So for us right now, the trigger of like when we need to activate online booking is not so much like a when do we need to monetize or not monetize argument. It's more like when does it make sense to enable this online booking and to enhance trust and reliability into the community, knowing that it brings a bit more friction. Then, of course, you brought like a good point, which is like in some markets, it's mostly credit cards, so it's easy in a way, it's easier. So that's like France, Spain, UK, Italy to some extent is very much credit card dominated. And then to another extreme, you would have countries like Russia, where you have like a zillion different type of payments. So you have credit card, you have internet banking, you have Kiwi, you have Yandex Money, you have Web Money, you have Kiwi. I mean, you have so many different things that. But essentially, if you look at that in detail, it's okay. I mean, there is lots of e-commerce and lots of marketplaces in Russia. All you need to do is to have like the right partner that's going to gather all these different payment techniques, and then you work with these guys, and they enable a front-end payment interface that you can use. So technically more difficult, but at the end of the day, the basic use case of the passenger and the driver is not really changing, right? So, will
you always leave the cash option, or are you going to shift only to online payments?
So today, in countries where we've done online booking, it goes 100% online, and the benefit of being 100% online is you can build all kind of cancellation policies, right? Because essentially the passenger is committed to the full amount, and then you can say if you don't show up, then the driver is getting paid, and you can build cancellation policies. In some countries it might be hard, right? So again, if I go back to Russia, or maybe even Turkey, it might be hard actually to transact the old money. So we're thinking right now about like some method where maybe actually we can enable some kind of online booking technique, but still part of the cash would be done, part of the transaction, would be done in cash. So we're thinking about that. But again, I mean, today the focus for us, it's mostly like building value, building transactions in the sense that people transacting together, you're building usage in all these countries. So what I track today the most actually is not even our revenue. It's not even like the number of booking that are monetized, quote unquote. It's like how many people travel on a global scale. And if we can get that number to be 5, 10, 20 times bigger in just a couple of years, we created tons of value. And then over time, you'll always find a way to to monetize that by having online booking, by having maybe bookings where people pay part online, part offline. I mean, you can always adjust depending on countries and payment systems.
And what are some numbers you're proud of right now?
Well, several. I would say. So I'll talk about numbers and then different things. I guess we're proud of. But today it's over 10 million members. A few years back it was very, very tiny. Today it's over 2 million people traveling with us every month. So it's like 2 or 3 times more than the Eurostar, for example. So it's like today we've built this massive transport network, and if you think like if you fast forward, if you think in like 2 or 3 years, maybe a bit more, we might become actually the biggest ground transport people company in the world, right? So we might become bigger than SNCF or Deutsche Bahn because we're so global. So, but the thing I'm probably the most proud of today is the fact that we've been able to hire people in every country. We've been able to scale like a local team approach where we have like Germans in Germany, we have Italians in Italy, we have Russians in Russia, and so on and so on. And we've been able to manage this sort of very decentralized, local-based team culture and to scale that in 9 countries so far. We have 9 offices, and hopefully we'll get a lot more in the next few years.
All right, and last question: how mobile are you? So, like in terms of percentage, how many like reservations and clients use mobile versus laptop or computer?
So it depends a lot on markets. In the oldest market like France, it's today it's a big third mobile. It's even a bit more than that. So it's between a big third and 40% mobile. It depends a bit between drivers and passengers, by the way. So it's not as and sometimes people do one action on mobile, one action on desktop. So it's always hard to count. So I'm talking about pure mobile. Having said that, we have like over 2/3 of the community is doing actions on mobile, right? So they do something on mobile and they might do something else on desktop. So it's hard to gauge, but at least like 2/3 of our community today is doing something on mobile. In new countries like Turkey, it's 100% mobile. So we launched just with mobile. So by construction, all the new countries might be 100% mobile.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.